before we get into the NCDF as it is short, who really is Jerome Rollins, for those of us who are hearing about you for the first time?
Well, for those who are hearing about me for the first time, and that would be, the number should be very small, is because I serve in a different capacity for 12 years here in the Federation with a different organization, and in a senior position, being in charge of Nevis for telecommunications, if I may say that. And so my name was out there within that capacity. Well, it's now called Flow.
Okay.
So I served there for 12 years, from 2000 till 2012.
And that would have been before Flow.
Those days it was called Cable and Wireless, Lime, and all that.
And Flow is actually a sponsor of the program, so we're in good stead.
Very good. So I served in that capacity, and then from May last year, I took over as the Chief Executive Officer of the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation. And interestingly enough, I've had a pretty strong background in culture, so it works quite well for me. I was instrumental in working with the Cultural Development Foundation and also with the Culturama Secretariat with regards to Culturama in terms of sponsorships from the previous organization. And so I've always had a close relationship with one Abernathy Liebert, who's well known throughout St. Kitts and Nevis with regards to Culturama. And so that relationship has been there over the years. In addition to that, I played a number of instruments throughout the years, and recently I was forced to play again when we celebrated the 90th birthday of Mr. David Freeman at Rollins 2 weeks ago. So I've always had a keen interest in culture, and so it is only fitting that that I am here.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mr. Rollins, Jerome. We haven't been hearing about a Department of Culture per se in Nevis. We have a Department of Culture here in St. Kitts. So how does that fit in Nevis? Where does the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation fit into the culture?
Well, the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation was actually formed in 2008. And prior to that, there was a Department of Culture.
Okay.
So the idea behind the formation of the foundation, that was formed by the one Suti Byron and former minister, and the former minister. But the idea behind forming a foundation, it makes it easier for one to get funding or grant from overseas funding agencies, etc. So what we have is a foundation, the Cultural Development Foundation, which consists of a board. It's actually a statutory body. So it consists of a board. We have your chairperson who reports into the Minister of Culture. And as you would know, we now have a new Minister of Culture in Nevis, the Honorable Eric Evelyn. So that is the makeup of the foundation, as opposed to a Ministry of Culture.
Oh, in terms of your staff, could you give us an idea of your staffing, please?
We have a staff complement of about 20 on Nevis, and we have artistic officers. Those are the ones who goes out to the schools, so that's the artistic section. They go out and train in the various areas. You have masquerade, you have drumming, you have steel pan, you have the clowns, you have the maypole. So we have officers who go out to all the primary schools, and we're trying to get back into the high schools as well to conduct these type of training. We also have NEPAC, as you would know about NEPAC, the Nevis Performing Arts Center. That is also under the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation. And that is a place where you can go and view performances, you can have performances, and that is something we'll talk about a bit later. You also have the Research and Documentation Unit, and I'm quite sure you have a similar unit here in the Ministry of Culture in St. Kitts. And what that deals with is all the different historical documents throughout Nevis, throughout the Federation, and so we have a library set up where persons can come and do some research on various historical and cultural aspects of the island.
Well, that sounds interesting. Quite similar in some instances to the Department of Culture here in St. Kitts.
I would say yes.
Your staff, you mentioned 20, and our staff here, we are just about 10 persons. So that's a little different there. We are one federation, St. Kitts Nevis, and we are told that divisions, they operate and think a little differently to us here in St. Kitts when it comes to certain things. We have a challenge here I know of in St. Kitts, and the Department of Culture is on a mission to educate and re-educate our public about culture. I said educate, because some of us just don't know what culture is, what it is about, what is my role, how does culture affect me, how I fit into culture. And some persons have the wrong idea about it. So that's where the re-education comes in. Case in point, a lot of persons would think that culture is just about carnival, calypso, folklore, and the parade of troops. Far be it, that is just one element of the performing arts. Do you have that sort of challenge in Nevis?
I would say so, Troy, if I may say Troy.
Sure, no problem.
Good. So in Nevis now, one of the challenges is to get the awareness out, particularly among the young persons. And so what I've said to Mr. Howell, who is in charge of the research and documentation unit, he's also in charge of the Facebook page and the very different social media pages and so forth, is to bring the culture into the modern era in terms of the projecting of the information or the dissemination of the information. What I mean by that is the younger persons are more into the Facebook, they're more into the Instagram, they're more into the Twitter, as opposed to coming to the library and sit and read the various documents. So we now have a challenge whereby we have to get that book that's in the library into the electronic, into the electronic stage. For example, we've been doing some spots on our Facebook page whereby we're highlighting historical properties, which is a part of culture, and that is something we had to explain to people, that history and heritage is also a part of culture. It's not just Culturama. And so with this new initiative, you have the younger people now getting on board and identifying these historical places or these places of interest, cultural places of interest. What you're also finding, interestingly enough, is that the older folks who live within 10 minutes of that site but have commented they didn't know that place existed.
Wow, that's interesting.
And so that is the awareness that we are creating via social media. And so this is bringing the culture into the modern era, so to speak, in terms of getting the information out.
Jerome, that's quite a mouthful. That's interesting. And the point, social media, you're actually reigning primary school Calypso Monarch is out of Nevis. And Invincible, I think it is, King Invincible. Yes. And his tune that he won last Carnival was social media SMA, social media addiction, I think it was. And though he said it's a very good thing, a lot of us use it for bad things, and things that are not necessarily the best. And I've been hearing stories about persons, there may be an accident, somebody taken ill, something is happening, and rather than calling for help, calling the police, everybody is standing up and recording it, and in some cases going live on Facebook. And speaking about that, we are actually live on Facebook. Those of you who are listening to Win FM 98.9, you can indeed tune in to the Facebook page, Win FM's Facebook page, and you'll be able to see us live. And at some point, we're going to be inviting questions. But Jerome, I think this is a very good time for us to go to the break and thank our partners, TDC, Rams, and Flow, for allowing us to have voices here on Win FM 98.9.
Quench me thirst, I bust that time now. Watch me, I bust and smile out. Boy. Freestyle, free bust, freestyle. Watch we are playing full color, meanwhile. Full heap of flavor, every one of them tries. The drink are refreshing and nice. Me tell you say I bust and me buy you with my money. This a everybody drink, I know me one love it. Have it, yeah, for the kids, them daddy harmony. Buster, we playing full color. Correct, I am here.
I'll take a small.
XL, that's the size for me.
Flow's new prepaid combo plans have the most choice and value for everyone. Save up to 90% by combining your talk, text, and data into one simple plan. And with options starting at just $19.99, it's easy to say it, type it, or share it. A whole lot more for a whole lot less. Dial *129# now to activate. The bigger you go, the bigger you save with Flow's new prepaid combo plans. This is how we flow.
Imagine a place that has all that you need, all of the things for your business to succeed. Furniture, copiers, laptops and more. TDC Business Center is your #1 store. Print and copy and scan and fax. Our copy center does all of that. If you're having a party and you need chairs and tents, you've got all your needs and grand rentals to rent. The TDC Business Center has everything your business needs. Superior copy and printing services, business equipment and furniture, and a wide array of renting materials for all occasions. TDC Business Center, providing solutions that work.
Trinidadians boast of the pan and sweet calypso. Jamaicans boast night and day about the reggae. Brother, it is time that we let the whole world know about we masquerade and we cadre. The two of them is so unique in we festival. And everywhere they play, they cause plenty bacchanal. So let we market them all over as the high point of we culture. This cadre beat plays with your mind and soul. It's so unique and sweet when it's unfold. And anytime we masquerade, perform on any stage, it's like splendor and beauty on the rampage. That's we culture. It's time we let the world know what we have to offer.
Come let me revive the culture. Come let me sell it all over.
We couldn't match anything from Trinidad or Jamaica.
Come let me revive the culture. Come let me sell it all over.
Brother, when we masquerade dance to we cadre music, foreigners does jump and prance in fun and frolic. Cause
Nothing in your world sweeter than it.
come help me sell it. Cause
Nothing in your world sweeter than it.
giddy giddy dum, giddy giddy dum, giddy giddy dum,
That's the country.
dum, giddy giddy dum, giddy giddy dum.
Come let me break away.
Come in. It's a cultural revival.
Thank you, King This and That, for assisting us with the revival of culture and the cultural element he's speaking about, predominantly the performing arts, the calypso, the masquerades, and the folklores, etc. And King This and That, one of the top calypsonians in the Federation, he would have won the crown over in Nevis quite some time, in excess of 8, 9, 10 years. He has made the finals, I think, every year he has been singing. So that tremendous track record. And we also thank TDC Rams and Flo for allowing us to bring Cultural Tuesday to you on Voices here at WinFM 98.9. I am Troy Biff Mills from the Department of Culture, and our guest today is Mr. Jerome Rollins, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nevis Cultural and Development Foundation. Before we went to the break, Jerome, you were mentioning the young people, the youth, and we are told the population, the 65% or thereabout of the population of St. Kitts Nevis are the young people. You and I would have missed that by perhaps a year or two, being in that category. But I agree with you. The challenge is the young people. They no longer do the research that you and I may have done, and the persons 5-10 years would have been doing. And they're in an era where they're trying to really capitalize on the social media, which is good. Nothing is wrong with that. But the question I'll ask, how successful do you think we are in getting the information about culture out to these young people, out to these youth, using the Facebooks, Instagrams, WhatsApp even?
I would say it's a work in progress. And so far, it's been going pretty good on Nevis. We're getting good feedback from the Facebook page. We're getting a lot of hits, not just from persons in Nevis, but from young Nevisians who are off studying in Taiwan and the USA and Canada and Europe and so forth. So the hits are coming in. The traffic is there, which is telling me that the interest is there. But it's a work in progress, and we're hoping to get it improved as we go along. And by doing this, we will naturally have to add more content as we try to get what's in the book in the palm of their hands.
So the digitization process will have to happen, and moving from the old book, and once again, persons may have had to actually take pictures, which is a way of getting it digital, but getting that information, which is really a good idea. How expensive or is expensive generally is that, getting the information into that social media?
Well, it's not very costly for us because we have the RDU department, the Research and Documentation Unit, which is in-house, which is a part of the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, or the NCDF, if I may say that. And so, for now, it is not a costly venture. But there's a lot of material to be digitized. And so, down the road, I expect that costs perhaps would increase.
How do you see the NCDF interacting with the Department of Culture here in St. Kitts?
I think it's quite interesting that you asked that because we're pretty much parallel in terms of functionalities. And I can see good synergies going forward. For example, we went to CariFesta last year, the members from the NCDF, members from the Ministry of Culture in St. Kitts, and we were able to collaborate, you and I, and organize a trip to CariFesta in Barbados. Apart from that, what we can do is exchange programs between St. Kitts and Nevis, or events in Nevis where we invite the team from St. Kitts to come over, and we can do the same vice versa. So the collaboration should be increased. The two entities are very parallel in terms of functionalities, as I mentioned. And so I can only see it going forward, a lot more collaboration between the Ministry of Culture in St. Kitts and the NCDF in Nevis.
If we take a little parallel, a little diversion for want of a better expression, you mentioned CariFesta. We had not been to CariFesta formally as a country, though we would have had representation and being recognized as country. In Suriname, we didn't have anybody in Haiti in 2015. In Suriname in 2013, the Poinciana theatrical group, they went on their own accord, and obviously they would have been afforded the courtesies of our representation, representing St. Kitts Nevis. What were your experiences for CariFesta last year when it was being held in Barbados?
It was quite interesting for me, and the exposure was very good for the members of the NCDF. It's, you know, the opportunity for them to be on a regional, or I dare say international scale. Just being able to see performances, folklore performances from Haiti, Barbados, Jamaica, Grenada, Dominica, it is a learning experience for myself and also for the members of the NCDF. Interacting with these persons, there was a lot to learn. We were able to network with them. I was able to meet the heads of culture from all these different areas. We're now in touch with each other. We collaborate and email each other weekly, or I would say monthly, on any new initiatives that come in on board, any presentations. And so there was a lot to benefit from being in Barbados at CariFesta.
CariFesta, as of late, it's basically being held every 2 years. And could you give us an idea where the next two CariFestas would be, the next 2, 3, 4?
Well, in 2019, CariFesta, I almost got a Trinidad accent there for a moment. In 2019, CariFesta will be in Trinidad, and I think 2 years later it will be in Antigua.
That's 2021.
2021. So I think 2023 is open, and 2025. So after Antigua, I would strongly suggest that perhaps we could look at that as a possibility of getting CariFesta back here to the Federation.
So technically, you're saying that perhaps we need to be having discussions even now with the Minister of Culture, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Sean Richards, and Minister Evelyn over in Nevis, who is the Minister of Culture, about us doing CariFesta again 2023 or 2025.
I would say the timing is right to begin such discussion.
And what I found interesting, we would have had CariFesta, was it 7 or 8 here in St. Kitts back in 2000. The smallest country to have held it, and we are still the date, and there would have been a lot of skepticism about it, and we must say kudos to the then Minister of Culture, the Honorable Jacinth Henry Martin, and all her support staff, the then Director of Culture, Mr. Creighton Pension. And at CariFesta last year in Barbados, persons were still talking about their experiences in St. Kitts Nevis some 17 years before. And some are still rating it as the best CariFesta ever. And I found that interesting. I was at a stall and I went to purchase something. It took about 7, 8, 9 minutes for me to purchase it because the lady, she's from Guyana, and she had a vendor here, and she was up in arms about the beauty of St. Kitts, and et cetera, et cetera. Do you think we would be able to, some 23, 25 years later, I don't know, replicate that environment, that whole mood, and perhaps even get it to a higher level?
I believe so, Troy. I believe, given where we are now within the NCDF and within the Ministry of Culture in St. Kitts, I firmly believe we can take our product, take our content, and take it to a much higher level. I too, while in Barbados, heard a lady from Barbados mentioned the Carrie Festa in St. Kitts. And she was asking, when are we going to put it on again? Because that was her last trip to St. Kitts. And so she's looking forward to coming back to St. Kitts for the for the next Carrie Festa here. But the product we have is very good. The content that we have is very good. And I think we should be able to take it to the next level. All we have to do is to meet and discuss this at very early stage to ensure that we have it well laid out, well planned, give ourselves a number of years to get this thing out, because as you know, Trinidad and Barbados, they planned years in advance. And so, you know, that is something we have to take seriously, and that is something we have to get on the table early.
How much, well, persons, were we to come back with Carrie Festa 2023 or 25, some persons, a lot of people who would be there would not have been around then, but some persons would have been 5, 10, 15. Of course, some would have gone away, some would have be coming back. Do you think we'll be able, concentrating on the volunteerism point of view, and there was a volunteerism day just but a few days ago, do you think we'll be able to get to that level where we'll be able to get particularly young people to say, hey, I want to make a contribution, I want to be patriotic, notwithstanding the quality of the product you mentioned?
I think what we have to do is to tie our culture in with our sense of patriotism. Once we've married the two, then I think it's smooth sailing. I have noticed a high sense of volunteerism in St. Kitts in particular when you have cricket matches, athletic meets, etc., etc. And so, to me, it's a smooth transition from there over to Carrie Festa. Once we have the national pride raised to a certain level and people have this high sense of patriotism, they will step forward.
You mentioned a key word I like, patriotism. I dare say we have a challenge here in St. Kitts. And forgive me, I'm saying St. Kitts as opposed to St. Kitts Nevis because you're here from Nevis. If you were not here, I would say St. Kitts Nevis, obviously. But in St. Kitts, we have a challenge with that level of patriotism, particularly at events, and the national anthem is played. Persons continue speaking on their phone, persons continue walking, persons continue eating or drinking. And in some cases, you look at persons, and you see them looking around to see who is looking at me as if, hey, I'm big and bad. I'm doing a good thing here. Do you have those sort of experiences in Nevis?
It's quite similar, and I think one of the ways of fixing that is to start it at an early age in the primary schools. I remember as a young man, we had to stand for the national anthem at the time. We had to stand at attention, you know, every morning for the opening of school, etc. Perhaps they're still doing that now, but I feel strongly that the strong sense of patriotism to which I speak has to start at an early age. One of the things I noticed as I traveled the Caribbean, in some countries such as Jamaica, for example, almost everyone has a shirt with the Jamaican flag on it. They have different paraphernalia at home with the flag on it. Even you see swimsuits, just different things with the colors of the flag. You don't see that much here. And the question is why? Even when I lived abroad in the United States, you see a particular vehicle go down the road and you can spot that Jamaican flag in it. I have seen vehicles belonging to persons from St. Kitts Nevis that have the Jamaican flag in it. But they do not have the St. Kitts Nevis flag in it. And that says something. And so if we can re-educate our people, if we can sensitize them to the level of patriotism, you know, when you see Usain Bolt running, when you see Tessan Chin performing, you get that sense that of pride, of patriotism coming from the entire populace. And so that is what I would like to see in the Federation. And this in itself would become part of our culture. And so once that is there and that has been instilled in our minds, volunteerism will just flow from that.
I think, Jerome, a beautiful point for us to go to our sponsors, TDC, Rams and Flow, and say thank you for allowing them to bring voices to you here on Cultural Tuesdays.
I'll take a small.
Double Wow, that's the size for me.
Flow's new prepaid combo plans have the most choice and value for everyone. Save up to 90% by combining your talk, text, and data into one simple plan. And with options starting at just $19.99, it's easy to say it, type it, or share it. A whole lot more for a whole lot less. Dial *129# now to activate. The bigger you go, the bigger you save with Flow's new prepaid combo plans. This is how we flow.
Quicks, 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 quicks. Quicks cleans many, 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 many dishes and many, 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 many more.
Quicks cleans many, 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 many dishes and many, 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 many more.
Yes, Quicks cleans many, 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 many dishes and many, 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 many more.
Just one spoonful of concentrated Quicks cleans your whole sink full of dishes. Quicks, 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 clean.
Quicks cleans many, 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 many dishes and many, 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 many more.
Quicks, we wash more dishes.
Like us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/ramsupermarket. Follow us on Twitter, www.twitter.com/ramsupermarket. And subscribe to us on YouTube, www.youtube.com/ramsupermarket.
This public service announcement is brought to you by TDC Insurance Company Limited.
Dashboard warning lights indicate that something is wrong or about to go wrong with your vehicle. Here are a few lights you should not ignore: battery lights, brake lights, and coolant warning lights. If the battery light doesn't go off a few seconds after starting your engine, then there could be a problem with your vehicle's electric system and needs to be checked as soon as possible. The brakes on your vehicle are easily one of the most essential features on your vehicle. If you see this light, it means there is either a problem with the brake hydraulic system or brake fluid is low. The coolant warning light indicates that your coolant is low or your engine is overheating. If the temperature gauge is also reading red, then your engine is overheating. Stop the vehicle immediately to allow the engine to cool, then get a professional to address the problem.
This public service announcement was brought to you by TDC Insurance Company Limited.
TDCIC, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
We need to preserve the culture. Put some culture back in Culturama. Give me. So unique throughout the world. Visitors come from all over to see maximum talent unfold. Masquerade and Moko Jambe used to parade to the country. Yeah, got business Johnny Walker used to be the real splendor. No pandita, no masquerada, no kind of old mask. It's like Culturama is now a thing of the past. Hey, but when the wicked fight used to come, blazing music to the tongue. The Quattro man he coming down, mass and fire when he's strong. When we hear the sound of the big drum, just get me crazy up and down top. Give me. That was mass in the past. I said that was mass in the past. But now we're losing all we flavor, we're losing all we culture. Put some culture back in Culturama. Put some culture back in Culturama. Let the music mad. Why, yeah, yeah. Give me, give me, give me, give me. A message to all.
Thank you very much, King Miko, coming out of Uali Queen City, Nevis, and one of the top artists, not only in Nevis, but in the Federation, and one of the winningest monarchs in the Federation as well. And the old Miko, he hasn't been in the competition for some time. No doubt persons would be hoping and wishing that he comes back and sing, because it's always a ding-dong battle when he's in, particularly between him and his neighbor, and the $100 story and the Coke bottle story. You're listening to Voices here on Win FM 98.9. It's Tuesday the 27th, and we're talking about Cultural Tuesday. The Voices where we are not talking about whose government is better than which government, who did that and roads here. We are talking about things that affect us from a cultural point of view. I am Troy Biff Mills from the Department of Culture, and our guest today here is Mr. Jerome Wallins, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nevis Cultural and Development Foundation, the NCDF. Mr. Wallins, you would have said earlier in your conversation that you work a bit with the Culturama Committee or the Culturama Secretariat. You mind elaborating a little about that for us, please?
Well, yes, Troy, we work with the one Antonio Liebert, who's head of the Culturama Secretariat. We both feed into the Minister of Culture, the Honorable Eric Evelyn. And for this year's Culturama, we're hoping to increase the number of troops, for example, for the primary schools, the number of children on the road, the number of folklore appearances. So we're working to increase that. And so we're working closely with them in different aspects of culture for this year. Over the years, they've had a very good turnout, but I think for the last 2 years, it's sort of diminished a bit in terms of folklore performances, say for the parades and so forth. And so we're working closely to amend that and to ensure that going forward, the streets are filled with all the different talents, all the different genre that we've been teaching in the schools, etc. So we're working very closely this year.
At this point, ladies and gentlemen, we again thank you for tuning in to Win FM 98.9 and listening to us here on Voices Cultural Tuesday. And we are going to open the lines and give you a chance to call in and share any ideas you would want to have with us, clarify anything. And you can call 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989, and that if you're on the local scene. Obviously, if you're in the Caribbean, you prefix that with 1869. In the UK, you'll dial 0333-344-0065. I repeat, in the UK, you'll dial 0333-344-0065. In terms of the USA, you'll dial 718-285-6984. That is 718-285-6984. And I pause and we go to the line to say good morning to our first caller. Welcome to Voices, caller.
Good morning. Good morning, Troy, and good morning to your guests, and good morning to all listening on Win FM Voices. I wanted to make a contribution concerning your discussion today. And I took note that you mentioned that, or the gentleman mentioned that for the Nevis Cultural Foundation, which is equivalent to the cultural department on St. Kitts, that they have 20 persons working for them. In St. Kitts, we have 10. What an imbalance. And I've been saying sometimes that we do not give enough focus on our culture. We do not give enough focus on the arts as we should. And I do believe that we need to start doing that. Can you imagine that Nevis is a smaller population, fewer schools, and then they have double the amount in that department? It's inconceivable to me that those in the authority of looking into these matters do not give enough to culture and the arts. Also, when we spoke of patriotism, I have to admire the Jamaicans. So whenever I mix among them, they always have a flag somehow, or the colors of their flag. And I think it goes to the leadership in St. Kitts and Nevis in making sure that the leaders are so proud of their country that it will somehow rub off on the rest of us. When I look at the Jamaicans and I looked at the Olympics when it was held in England, goodness gracious, there were British people with Jamaican flag. And that's the fire you have to give. If one person has that fire, it's so easy to catch to others. Can you imagine all these white people with Jamaican flags wrapped around them when they had the Olympics? It was something to see. Yes, they might have been enthusiastic about Usain Bolt, but here it was. The fire had been caught on the pride of Jamaica. I believe that we can do that in St. Kitts and Nevis as well. I think one of the problems that we have is that we can't stand to see when somebody is doing exceptionally well, and we perhaps cannot do as well as them, that we get kind of jealous of that person and we do not support as well. I think that is a fundamental problem. And you'll be surprised to see who's engaging in that. Even very eloquent and bright people are also, if they don't have a friend, or somebody's not their friend, or somebody who not their acquaintance, they don't feel like they can support that person who's doing well. I hope that we can change the culture, though. Our leaders, it has to start with our leaders, that we support. We support our own. Somebody's doing well in art, in poetry, in dance, in whatever it is. God has given them a gift. We have to lift them up. I think that is where patriotism can start. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, caller. We appreciate that. Out of the blocks early. And to have a female, it's always a wonderful feeling when the females are involved. And just before we comment on that, it would be remiss if I didn't mention the number for Canada. Those of you in Canada wanting to call in, it's 305-921-4619, 305-921-4619 if you're in Canada. Or else, if you can't call and you want to send a WhatsApp to me, my WhatsApp number is 668-2055, 668-2055, and I'll be able to look at it and get it to you. And we thank you again, caller. And the lines are open if you want to call and share your views. Jerome, the caller mentioned something and hinging off of the patriotism of the Jamaicans.
I think, Troy, this is a societal issue. I think this has to start as I mentioned before, in the schools. From kindergarten or even the preschool, where number one, you have to have the flag around. Young persons have to actually see it and know what it is, right? If you're not seeing it, if you can't see it, you won't think of it. And once you start there, you sing the national anthem, you see the flag in the classroom, you know what the flag is for, you know the sense of pride behind that flag. That is what patriotism is all about. And if you were to do that throughout the primary schools and into the high schools, you will see persons stand at attention when that song is being played, whether in the park or whatever the function is. But having seen that flag and knowing exactly what it stands for, the same way that Jamaicans see that flag, that has to start in the early educational process.
Piggybacking off of the flag, and you mentioned having flags in school, and I think it's a good thing that most, if not all, of the schools I have visited, be they preschool, primary schools, high schools, there is at least one picture of the Governor General, one picture of the Prime Minister, and one picture of the Minister of Education, who in this case is also the Minister of Culture. So that gives the children, especially at the early age, that preschool, primary school level, the opportunity to associate a face with a name and the respect that comes with it. Do you think we as parents, we are involved in any way in helping to create that patriotic environment or destroying it?
I think it's more of a neutral stand. And again, it could be the lack of education in that area. I don't think they're destroying it, but I think they can help to build it. And what I mean by that is, even when the children are home, you can also have your flag at home. I remember growing up, almost every house had a picture of John F. Kennedy. Almost every house had a picture of Martin Luther King. The third picture was that of Jesus Christ. Almost every living room in the Federation had those three pictures. So what if we were to put pictures of our leaders at home? What if we were to have flags of our leaders at home? And I'm not dwelling on this just for dwelling on its sake, but what this is the building process for us taking pride in our culture. And again, in other societies, you see a local artist is held to the highest esteem because of this sense of patriotism, this sense of interest in our culture, this sense of building up our culture. So a young artist who will perhaps sing a song, or a painter or a chef, the society pushes them up to a different level. They're held on a pedestal locally, and so it makes it easier for them to go international.
Patriotism at the national level. If we go a little backwards, do you think patriotism at the community level could help to develop? You touched the schools and the home, but at a community level could help to develop that at the national level?
I think so. And growing up, what we had was the 4-H clubs.
And Jerome, can I ask you to stick a pin on the 4-H call as we go to the line and say good morning to our next caller? Welcome to Voices.
Hello. I wanted to say again that I believe that the patriotism could be led out by our leaders in the sense that when it comes to choosing persons to do a particular job, I've seen our leaders go outside the country and find other people when they're well-qualified persons who could do the job or be trained to do that job. And I don't see the patriotism in that. Well, it's going to be the patriotism for the Trinidad and Tobago when you bring in a training, or a patriotism for Jamaican when you bring in, for Jamaica when you bring in a Jamaican. But what about our people? You say our people are bright, we're well educated, probably the best educated in the Caribbean. But why do we always go outside to find other people when our persons in our own country can perform the same things and perhaps even better? So you know how much pride one can feel when you see your own, somebody who you went to school with when you were in kindergarten, and you see them all the way through, and now they are doing a tremendous work. There's some pride with that. Put aside some of the petty jealousies, but there's a certain pride to know that we can do a lot of the things and build our own nation. When the person would have, who we get from outside would have performed, they're gone back. They're gone back to their country, So this is really an appeal to the persons, ministers of government, those in charge, those who often look outside for other people, to look within us and take pride in our people. Give them a chance. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, caller. We appreciate that. And this caller being very patriotic to the topic of patriotism there, Jerome, and very passionate indeed. And you, before the caller, and she's linking and supporting what she would have said before, you mentioned the community level and you started going on the road of 4-H.
Yes, I was saying I can recall in my days as a young man, whereby in almost every village, or at least in every parish, you had the 4-H clubs. What this did is not only give you a place to hang out, but it was a structured club. You had a president, you had a treasurer, you had a secretary, those kind of positions. So what that also teaches is organizational management at an early age. What that also teaches you is a sense of pride in your community. And so we were able to have workshops with other parts of the island. We were able to have camps with members from other parts of the island, and I'm leading into something else now. And what this did for us was create an atmosphere on the island whereby everyone got along. So in terms of culture, we need to go back to that, where we can have groups in different parts of the island, and then you can have social interactions. In St. Kitts, you have a lot of football matches here. In Nevis, you have cricket matches. But it goes beyond that. The 4-H clubs, the AYPA, those kind of groups back in the early 80s created that kind of atmosphere for positivity. and the sense of patriotism within your community and throughout the island.
That it's interesting you said that, Jerome, because at the funeral of the late Mrs. Knight, who was the mother of our permanent Secretary of Culture, Mr. Stanley Knight, Youth and Sport, a contribution was made, a tribute was made by an organization by the acronym SEA, Social and Educational, I can't remember the E. And that's one of the things they said. They started as a group of 13, 14, 15-year-old youngsters. And if you look at most of them now, they would have been managers and executives in various companies. Two persons readily jump to mind. We have the gentleman who actually did the tribute, Mr. Sam Franks. Another person instrumental in it was Mr. Alfonso Bridgewater. Seymour Davis, Tally, the late Hudson Ross. I know these four individuals. And obviously there were more. And they were saying that that sort of level and organization that you mentioned, and obviously the patriotism at that point was to the group because these were a bunch of youngsters. And you mentioned football. And I find it interesting, Jerome, and we're going to be going to lunch just now. But I get the impression a lot of us are patriotic to our football teams, our cricket teams, our basketball teams from our communities. But we don't take that level of patriotism to the national level. The St. Kitts Nevisville, Rampton Shout, and the St. Paul's and Keon and Village and Spurs playing from the McKnight region. But we are the same persons. We might buy replica jerseys, but we're the same persons when the flag is playing, when my team is going to play. I'm not standing to the anthem. So we do have a lot of work to do from a culture, because that, again, like you mentioned, is cultural as well. It's a cultural thinking and a way of life.
Yes, definitely. And once we've educated the populace, I think it will be an easy process going forward, once the young persons have bought into the idea.
Jerome, we have to take a pause here and go to the midday news at Win FM. And in doing so, we have to thank our sponsors for the morning session, the first half. TDC, thank you, Rams. Thank you, Flo, for being with us. Thank you for the callers so far. And we also want to thank you for starting the program with us. Those of you who are joining us, we say thank you. We ask you to stick and stay. Don't go away. Join us at the bottom of the hour after the news package, when the second half of Voices will return.
New tires but don't know what to get? TDC can help.
Hi, I'm Goodyear. I ensure great handling and great braking in wet and dry conditions.
My name is Sunphone. My continuous block patterns enhances stability at high speed cornering. Did someone say speed? Hi, I'm Torque. Pick me for great performance and stability.
Boys, I know exactly what they want. I'm Pressa. I'm the perfect fit for your SUV. Pick me and get the ultra-high performance with outstanding grip and traction, regardless of the road conditions.
So which one of us are you gonna choose? For the most reliable, durable, high-performance tires, come to TDC Automotive Divisions. We'll help you choose from the best brands at the best prices.
I'll take a small.
XL, that's the size for me.
Flow's new prepaid combo plans have the most choice and value for everyone. Save up to 90% by combining your talk, text, and data into one simple plan. And with options starting at just $19.99, it's easy to say it, type it, or share it. A whole lot more for a whole lot less. Dial *129# now to activate. The bigger you go, the bigger you save with Flow's new prepaid combo plans. This is how we flow.
Found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, FamCare, Subway, Carib Brewery, and CNC Trading.
I want it cold, blue and gold, real beer, one of a kind. When you try, you can't deny one beer. It's on your mind, Carib. I need a real beer, yeah. I feel like special magic when I open the gold crown. Carib the beer for me, Carib the beer for you. Carib beer, you know we brew, beastly cold right on cue. Carib beer, you know it's true, it's a part of me, a part of you. Carib.
Real beer is Carib.
Come to Subway and eat fresh. Try our daily specials. That's right, we have a special every day at Subway. Come in today and eat fresh. Stay healthy.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
BioCare Lab says it's your hair, so wear it your way with Curls and Naturals Hair Care Solutions. Start it right with Curls and Naturals Texturizer Hair Softener, infused with Moroccan argan oil, and maintain it with the Dream Curl Cream with honey and shea butter, all with daily moisturizing anti-fizz and shine serum. For locks and twists, nourish them with a curl defining custard and see them grow. It's your hair. Wear it your way with Curls and Naturals. A brand new you every day.
Curls and Natural, sold locally by CNC Trading on the CAP Southwell Industrial Site. Telephone 465-4081.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
The lending agencies for the proposed second cruise pier, the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank, Social Security, the Sugar Industry Diversification Fund, SIDF, and the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla Trading and Development Corporation, TDC, inked their financial commitment to the construction of the docking facility during a signing ceremony at Port Zante on February 26th. Top representatives from each of the financing institutions formalized the deal for the capital project. The second cruise pier is projected to cost US $48 million. The National Bank is providing the bulk of the financing with $34 million. The Social Security Board is providing $7 million, while the SIDF and TDC are contributing $5 and $2 million respectively. Minister of Public Infrastructure, Post, Urban Development and Transport, Honorable Ian Patches-Liberd, expressed his delight with months of planning coming to fruition.
Addition would result in our lovely nation being able to accommodate not one, but 3 Oasis-class vessels 3 of the largest vessels afloat today. We are positioning St. Kitts and Nevis as a destination which can accommodate the growing sizes of cruise vessels being constructed. We can continue to boast of receiving and our ability to receive the largest cruise ship vessels in the world. Few countries can boast of this, and we as a people of St. Kitts and Nevis should be proud.
The minister with responsibility for SCASPA said the signing of the loan agreement was representative of the crossing of a final hurdle. He indicated that provision has been made for any natural disasters or liabilities to mitigation by the appropriate insurance companies, Lloyd's of London and Island Heritage Insurance. Libel also disclosed that a meeting will be held later this week with all the subcontractors associated with the project.
This week there's a meeting of all the subcontractors and all the players moving forward in terms of the disbursements that would actualize the mobilization, and which would start anytime now, next month.
Minister of Tourism Honorable Lindsey Grant was also keen to express his satisfaction with the coming on of the new cruise pier.
638 passengers. We have grown this industry 100 and something % in 3 years, which is magnificent. And so we expect this to do a wonderful job.
The new cruise pier is going to be constructed on the western side of the existing cruise ship docking facility at Port Zante.
The government of St. Kitts and Nevis has refuted claims that Nirav Modi, his wife Army, and his uncle have applied for economic citizenship in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. According to a release, government officials state that Modi, his wife, and uncle are not citizens of the Federation, nor have they applied for economic citizenship. The release goes on to state that immigration records also indicate that none of these individuals have entered any port in St. Kitts and Nevis. According to an NBC Online report, Modi is being sought by India's Federal Investigation Agency for his alleged involvement in a fraud case of over $1.7 billion, an investigation that began in 2011. This was after Punjab National Bank, one of the largest lenders in India, filed a complaint with the agency that named Modi and others as defrauding the bank and costing it more than $43 million in losses.
The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States is working to formalize a network of national emergency agencies to respond to natural hazards and disasters in the region. Director General of the OECS, Didicus Jules, explained the initiative at a recent Growth and Resilience Forum at the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank in St. Kitts.
We recognize that if a country is as badly hit as Dominica has been or Barbuda, that national structure almost is paralyzed. Because in the hours immediately following the hit, all your medical personnel, their own homes have been destroyed. You can't get people mobilized in that way. So we need to create now in a formal way what we did just by instinct in this last season. Let us create a network of these institutions. So if one country is hit, the next proximate group of countries that are not hit will automatically, their disaster mechanisms will automatically kick in support. So let's say if we were to relive, if Maria was to happen under different circumstances, Dominica is hit, immediately St. Lucia, Martinique, the islands closest become the hubs, the logistical hubs for support. And automatically, the disaster mechanisms and personnel from these countries will move into Dominica and start working almost as if it's their own country that was hit, freeing up the Dominicans to catch themselves.
He said efforts are on the way to strengthen capacity at the national level and improve linkages in the region. 5
really buckets of that constitute our approach: disaster and hazard management, security, dealing with economic resilience, resilient communities, and human capacity. So these would be the five things. Now, when we talk about the disaster hazard thing, we will then be working. So the OECS works, strengthen things at the national level, establish ourselves as a network of these national entities, and then lays now with CEDIMA, with the 5 Cs, with CIMH, Caribbean Met Organization, CAFA. We then interface with those CARICOM bodies that are responsible for particular dimensions of disaster or hazard management. On the security front, equally we liaise with IMPACTS, RSS, CASOX, and we have already started discussions with the French, the Dutch, the British, and the Americans who have assets in the region, so that those security assets be able to coordinated and kick in the event of a disaster.
The Director General said, outside of natural disasters, the assets can be made ready for other uses.
Outside of a disaster, that framework also allows us to engage those assets in drug interdiction and all of that. Now, where that connects with the disaster and hazard management is that through the networks that we have created, we intend to run simulations like war games. If we can do joint military exercises, then we can do joint disaster exercises as well to practice that seamlessness of response across the OECS. And then there's the economic dimension of it.
The Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, and the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, are strong believers that the objectives of Hospitality Assured Caribbean are essential components in the growth of the regional hospitality sector. This was underscored during the opening day, February 26th, of a week-long workshop at the Ocean Terrace Inn, OTI, where the main aim is to promote service and business excellence. 21 participants from 13 regional territories are participating in the seminar, which is geared towards helping to strengthen the business performance and overall competitiveness of tourism enterprises in the Caribbean. Regional Human Resource Development Consultant of the CTO, Sharon Banfield-Bovell, one of the facilitators of the workshop, provided an overview.
The workshop is being held to train assessors, train those individuals who will go into the businesses to be able to assess their performance against the criteria of the Hospitality Assured program. So it's a very holistic framework, and the program itself, in order to run the program, it's a certification program. So it's a certification program, and you hear about the Green Globe certification. You have criteria that you have to meet, and then you're assessed. Hospitality Assured is a certification program. It's not a rating system. It's not like Michelin and AAA where you get rated at 3-star or 5-star. It's an actual certification program. There are criteria that businesses have to meet, and if they're not currently meeting it, they go through a journey with the help of one of our support personnel called a business advisor. They go through a process with a business advisor to become more aware of the criteria and how they can meet it. And when they are ready, at the end of that journey, after going through all 44 criteria of the program, they can come to the Caribbean Tourism Organization and say, we are ready for assessment.
The CTO consultant revealed that an evaluation will be done at the end of the 5-day workshop.
So once they finish this training in here today, there will be an assessment at the end of the 5 days, a written assessment, in addition to the fact that we would have been assessing them as facilitators over the 5 days and assessing their performance. And once they are successful and we say, yes, you've done a great job, you are now an official assessor, they go back to their countries and they prepare to work with the ministries, as I said, in the tourism departments to create the awareness about the program, to get businesses on board to participate in the program, and when we're ready, the CTO will call upon them to assess any businesses that come into the program.
Banfield-Bovell noted that being involved in the program is a tremendous asset to the tourism and hospitality sector.
Businesses that have been through the program and testified have spoken about it's just firmed up their operations, make them look a little more in depth at the way that they operate and the things, the systems and the processes that they need to have in place to ensure the delivery process is indeed excellent, because we're all aiming for quality service. And they speak to the fact too that like one of the key benefits of the program is that you have a motivated staff. All of them across the board, hands down, said that the process, because it's one that you have to do, not just management and middle management alone, but it's everybody throughout the organization has to embrace the Hospitality Assured program and basically live it. And so the testimony at the end of the day from these companies that are in the program are it's created a new, among their staff, there's a greater motivation. Everybody's is clear of the goal of the business, and everybody wants to meet that goal. Everybody's excited. Everybody's passionate. But it also speaks to businesses testify to the fact that they feel now they're able to compete, and they can compete more effectively because these processes and systems are in place as a result of this Hospitality Assured Service and Business Excellence framework.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Carleen Morton, indicated that she was very excited with the workshop. She noted that her ministry is focused on ensuring that entrepreneurs are successful. Morton revealed that for the businesses to achieve the required level of success, they need help with self-assessment. Hospitality Assured gives small and micro businesses the training to develop inbuilt efficiencies to keep customers satisfied, the Permanent Secretary added. Hospitality Assured was created by the Institute of Hospitality UK specifically for the tourism and hospitality sector. It is an industry standard that promotes and rewards the highest levels of business and service excellence for organizations in the hospitality industry. The other facilitator is Janice Smith, Director of Jarrick Environment, Safety and Health Services Limited.
We now bring you this report from Antigua's Observer Radio.
Well, Prime Minister Gaston Brown has defended his party's decision to allow Member of Parliament Asset Michael to run in the upcoming general election. Brown fired Michael from the cabinet in October last year, shortly after the MP was arrested in London and later released in connection with an alleged bribery scandal involving a British businessman. And many people have questioned why the PM saw fit to relieve Michael of his ministerial portfolios but keep him as an election candidate.
I understand that there's some reputational risk there, but I have to tell you that Asset Michael is not without controversy. So there's always a risk running him. But if he comes to the stage where we can't carry him anymore, then so be it. I can assure the people who are sitting in Barbados that is something that I'm monitoring very closely.
The Prime Minister says Michael would even be allowed back into the cabinet if no evidence is provided to confirm the allegation of bribery. Speaking of the cabinet, the PM has challenged the United Progressive Party to reveal its shadow ministers. The PRO of the UPP, Damani Tabor, says all will be revealed soon.
It's a visionary structure that will provide the level of responsiveness, accountability and transparency that a modern society expects. All government structure will be based on experience and competency within the team, and most importantly, it will yield maximum performance, which yields measurable results. And this is not the case with the current ALP governing team.
The UPP will launch its election campaign on Sunday evening at Old Parliament Drive.
It's going to be a great event. We're going to have all the candidates on hand, and we're going to start rolling out to the people our plans for delivering hope, happiness, opportunity, prosperity, and empowerment. Lower cost of living, fair, paying, and long-lasting jobs, and an overall better quality of life for the people of Antigua and Barbuda.
We now bring you this international report.
South Korea's ex-president may be looking at a long stay in jail. On Tuesday, prosecutors demanded a 30-year prison term for Park Geun-hye and a $127 million fine in a landmark case that's rocked the country. Park was ousted last year after a massive corruption scandal. She's now standing trial on charges of bribery, abuse of power, and coercion. She denies any wrongdoing. Reuters' Joo-min Park reports from Seoul.
The prosecutors seeking the lengthy jail term for Park was expected to some extent, given Park faces 18 charges including bribery. Park's lawyers were seeking leniency from court, but Park herself did not show up at court. She consistently denied any charges against her, and her lawyers recused themselves, claiming that the trial is politicized.
This comes just 2 weeks after Choi Soon-sil, a longtime friend of Park who was at the center of the scandal, was jailed for 20 years for taking bribes from conglomerates.
The trial of Choi Soon-sil, Park's accomplice in the case, points to how Park's trial is going to be. For Choi, prosecutors wanted 25 years, and then she was eventually sentenced by court 20 years in jail. It doesn't seem easy for Park to avoid lighter sentence because a couple of heads of top conglomerates were found guilty of bribing her, and the court earlier said Park made threats and forced them to pay bribes.
Some of the groups involved, tech powerhouse Samsung and retail giant Lotte, both of which felt the fallout as well. Lotte's chairman Shin Dong-bin was sentenced to 2 years and 6 months in prison, while Samsung's heir J.Y. Lee was handed 2.5 years, which was suspended in a surprise decision earlier this month. Local reports say Park's lawyer will request clemency. The court's ruling is expected to be issued before April.
The headline news was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Fan Care, Subway, Carib Brewery, and CNC Trading.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we've got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Is your hair thinning, shedding, or breaking? BioCare Labs has researched the causes of split ends, thinning, dry, and brittle hair, and has developed a product to solve these weak hair problems. We call it Strong Ends Products. If you desire to grow strong, healthy hair, Strong Ends Products is your solution. Formulated with potent natural ingredients like honey and shea butter to deposit and retain moisture, castor and almond oil for scalp and roots, and aloe vera and coconut milk for strength. Try the full line of Strong Ends hair products and grow healthy, beautiful hair.
Strong Ends, sold locally by CNC Trading on the CAP Southwell Industrial Site. Telephone 465-4081.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Come to Subway and eat fresh. Try our daily specials. That's right, we have a special every day at Subway. Come in today and eat fresh. Stay healthy.
I want it cold, blue and gold, real beer, one of a kind. When you dry, you can't deny one beer is on your mind. Carib, I need a real beer, yeah. I feel that special magic when I open the gold crown. Carib the beer for me, Carib the beer for you. Carib beer, you know we brew, beastly cool, right on cue. Carib beer, you know it's true, it's a part of me, a part of you. Carib,
real beer is Carib. WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM. Win FM weather.
Today's weather comes to you with the kind compliments of TDC and Sweet Cane.
Imagine a place that has all that you need, all of the things for your business to succeed. Furniture, copiers, laptops and more. TDC Business Center is your #1 store. Print and copy and scan and fax. Our copy center does all of that. If you're having a party and you need chairs and tents, you've got all your needs and grand rentals to rent. The TDC Business Center has everything your business needs. Superior copy and printing services, business equipment and furniture, and a wide array of renting materials for all occasions. TDC Business Center, providing solutions that work.
When is the last time that you've had lunch or dinner away from home? The ambience of Sweet Cane on Port Zante provides you with that touch. Sweet Cane daily specials include burgers, wraps, soup, and tasty seafood dishes. Sweet Cane also caters for events and special parties. Call our Sweet Cane hotline at 465-4345 or 665-7628. Sweet Cane, they've got the touch.
Moisture and instability associated with a low to mid-level trough and being enhanced by favorable upper-level outflow will maintain a high chance of showers across the region today. Today, mostly cloudy with a high or 70% chance of showers. Tonight, partly cloudy to cloudy with a chance of showers remaining high. Winds east-northeast at 4 to 10 knots over land and increasing to near 12 knots over coastal waters. Seas slight to moderate with heights 1.5 to 1.8 meters or 5 to 6 feet. Seabathers should continue to exercise caution. Sunset today will be at 6:17 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow at 6:29 a.m. That's your weather forecast for today. Comes to the kind compliments of TDC and Sweet Cane.
When is the last time that you've had lunch or dinner away from home? The ambience of Sweet Cane on Port Zante provides you with that touch. Sweet Cane daily specials include burgers, wraps, soup, and tasty seafood dishes. Sweet Cane also caters for events and special parties. Call our Sweet Cane hotline at 465-4345 or 665-7628. Sweet Cane, they've got the touch.
You need new tires but don't know what to get. TDC can help.
Hi, I'm Goodyear. I ensure great handling and great braking in wet and dry conditions.
My name is Sunphone. My continuous block patterns enhances stability at high-speed cornering. Did someone say speed? Hi, I'm Torque. Pick me for great performance and stability.
Boys, I know exactly what they want. I'm Pressa. I'm the perfect fit for your SUV. Pick me and get the ultra-high performance with outstanding grip and traction regardless of the road conditions.
So which one of us are you gonna choose? For the most reliable, durable, high-performance tires, come to TDC Automotive Divisions. We'll help you choose from the best brands at the best prices.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
things looking more strange. Like we're trying to stifle culture, calling for a change. Year by year we are steadily importing foreign ideas, disregarding the culture that has kept us throughout the years. I don't mind, but some of them big costumes look weird and out of place. Others so rude and vulgar and really in poor taste. Why can't we exercise creativity whilst preserving our history? And let us keep our cultural identity. We want like the river that is our show. Cowboy and Indian, let the whole world know that's the carnival, a Creole bacchanal. Folklore is our past and future, our heritage. Out of Africa and slavery, painful pilgrimage. Don't make that mistake to succumb to foreign faith. For heaven's sake, give the culture a break.
Thank you, King Elimat, for pushing the cause, pleading, give the culture a break. And we're not talking a specific element of culture. Generally, we're talking all the elements of culture. Good afternoon. Welcome back to Voices here on WinFM 98.9. Yes, you're tuned in to WinFM 98.9. And yes, it is still Voices. Notwithstanding, you would have been hearing King Elimat give the culture a break. We have sort of adopted it to help spread our message. And it's not just about the elements that Elimat would have been singing about, the folklore, the carnival, mega business, what have you, but culture on a whole. Today is Cultural Tuesday, as we call it here on Voices. I'm Troy Biff Mills from the Department of Culture. Those of you who are coming back with us from the morning session, we say a very big thank you. Those of you who are joining, we say thank you. But while we're thanking, let us go to the sponsors. Let us thank Flo, thank Coates, thank SL Horsfords, and thank KFC for allowing us to bring Voices to you on WinFM 98.9.
I'll take a small.
XL, that's the size for me. Flo's new prepaid combo plans have the most choice and value for everyone. Save up to 90% by combining your talk, text, and data into one simple plan. And with options starting at just $19.99, it's easy to say it, type it, or share it. A whole lot more for a whole lot less. Dial *129# now to activate. The bigger you go, the bigger you save with Flo's new prepaid combo plans. This is how we flow.
Shopping is a lot easier with Quartz Ready Finance. Choose what you want from our wide range of quality products, and we take care of the rest. Quartz Ready Finance's affordability means there's no deposit. There's no need for a lump sum of cash. It's flexible, which means you choose your payment term and you're guaranteed the lowest monthly payments anywhere. Best of all, it's easy. Easy to get and easy to pay. Shop at Quartz today and get what you want hassle-free. Quartz Ready Finance. Easy, affordable, flexible.
How does it feel when you got that feeling? You got the flavor you love. How does it feel when you know you're not dreaming? There is nothing above.
How you feel when things come together? How you feel when everything nice? How you feel when you savor the flavor, the feeling you get when you taste every bite?
Ready when you're ready. Ready to build? Ready to construct? Well, if you're ready, then we're ready.
Ready when you're ready.
From roads to foundation, Portsmouth's Building Center is ready to organize and deliver the highest quality ready-mix concrete for your residential, commercial, or industrial projects. Call 465-2262, extension 1187, or 664-2640. And let us organize and deliver ready-mix concrete when you're ready.
Ready when you're ready.
Portsmouth's ready-mix concrete, ready when you ready.
Ready when you're ready. Trinidadians boast of the pan, calypso. Jamaicans boast night and day about the reggae. Brother, it is time that we let the whole world know about we masquerade and we cadre. The two of them is so unique in we festival. And everywhere they play, they cause plenty bacchanal. So let we market them all over as the high point of we culture. This cadre beat plays with your mind and soul. It's so unique and sweet when it's unfold. And anytime we masquerade, perform on any stage, it's like splendor and beauty on the rampage. That's we culture. It's time we let the world know what we have to offer. Come let me revive the culture. Come let me sell it all over. We couldn't match anything from Trinidad or Jamaica. Come let me revive the culture. Come let me sell it all over. Brother, when we masquerade dance to we cadre music, foreigners does jump and prance in fun and frolic. Cause nothing in the world sweeter than it. Come help me sell it, cause nothing in the world sweeter than it. Giddy giddy dum, giddy giddy dum, giddy giddy dum. That's the country. Dum, giddy giddy dum, giddy giddy dum. Come let me break way. Come in. It's a cultural revival. We couldn't match any one of them.
Thank you very much, King This and That. Come, let me revive the culture. And that is what Cultural Tuesday is all about. Apart from just bringing the information to you, educating you, or re-educating as the case may be, to really solicit your support, your assistance with us reviving the culture. When you and I are gone 150 years from now, we want to ensure that the culture of St. Kitts Nevis continues as the culture of St. Kitts Nevis. And we know it's very easy for it to be diluted, for want of a better expression, because we are becoming multicultural, as it were. Kittitians and Nevisians are not the only ones living in St. Kitts and Nevis. No, we have Chinese, we have Indians, we have persons from Dominican Republic, we have Jamaicans, Barbadians, Trinidadians, persons from the Windward Islands, other persons from the Leeward Islands, English, American. And obviously, they are going to bring their culture with them. They are going to practice their culture. And that is okay, because we must be all-inclusive. We must embrace them. However, we also have to support our culture, stand and push our culture, to make sure our children are aware who are what would make us Kittitians and Nevisians. I am Troy Biff Mills from the Department of Culture. Our guest today is Mr. Jerome Wallins, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nevis Cultural and Development Foundation, coming out obviously of Nevis, the first time we're having him, and I suspect it will not be the last. And want to thank you again for coming back to us after the lunch session. Those of you who are just joining, welcome. And we are going on until 12:30. And we go straight to reminding you that the lines are open in case you want to call us, share your view, clarify anything. 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. If you're in the Caribbean, not in St. Kitts Nevis, you prefix that with 1869. The UK, you dial 0333-344-0065. The USA, you will call 718-285-6984. And Canada, you will dial 305-921-4619. We hope you would have had a good lunch, a very healthy lunch. You're back on the job, or heading home, or heading back to school perhaps. I don't know, but we hope that you're keeping us with you. And Mr. Wallins, we've touched quite a bit of things and the patriotism that would have created some discussion, no doubt. But let us get a little closer to home. We know a lot of work is being done to have Charlestown inscribed, the historic Charlestown inscribed as a World Heritage Site. And I think that is a very good thing, something that I fully support. And I could recall when we're working towards Brimstone Hill attaining that sort of recognition. How involved, if at all, is the Nevis Cultural and Development Foundation in this project?
Well, Troy, I'm a member of that committee, the Nevis World Heritage Committee, and so I bring the involvement of the NCDF to that committee. We're working quite hard to try and get Charlestown inscribed in the year 2020, hence the motto is Charlestown 2020. We met with a number of experts who were here recently, the persons from ECOMOS, and they went around and looked at the various sites or places of interest around Charlestown. They would have done their assessment and would have provided feedback, and that feedback will be ongoing to assist us in preparing for the inscription.
And 2020, that is when, once everything goes down the way it should,
yes,
the
once
inscription should happen.
Once it's a success, it should be done in 2020.
And it'll be safe to say that things are in order, things for that to happen there.
Yes,
on target.
We are progressing smoothly. Again, we're working with the experts, and I think that we will be successful in the year 2020.
And obviously, you'll have a lot of Kittitians coming over to join in that celebration because we're one big happy family.
Yes, yes.
In terms of the NCDF, what plans do you have for? You said you did indicate that you work close to Culturama, but apart from that, what plans do you have as a department, as an entity, as an organization, as it were?
Well, for the month of April, that is the NCDF month. And so we have a number of events planned for that month. So we have a month of activity, so to speak. So we're going to have presentations by the various schools. We're going to have pan competition at NEPAC or pan presentation at NEPAC. We're going to have sort of a food fair where we have a wide variety of presenters from the different islands present the island dishes, etc. And this is going to happen outside of our headquarters. We're going to set up a nice stage there, have persons from the general public come and visit, have the radio stations come in and cover that kind of event. And in addition to that, we're starting off with the poetry, because we usually have poetry in the square for Culturama. So what we want to do this year is to start off early and start like a poetry corner in different parts of Nevis. But we want to start it at our event, and then we branch it off to various places of entertainment. Say on a Friday night we have poetry, like a poetry corner. And so those are the type of events we're looking to have on our calendar for the month of April as part of the NCDF month.
And how involved? You mentioned steel pan, etc. Do you have the full support of the schools in Nevis, the community, as it were, and more importantly, the corporate sector?
Yes, we do. Right now, we're having Black History Month, the month of February, and we've had performances in most of the primary schools. It is still ongoing. This is the final week. We've had the steel pan, we've had the drumming, we'll have the clown, we've had the cakewalk, the masquerade, the drama, etc. And so we have a calendar for all the schools laid out for the entire period. And so we've had performances throughout Nevis. What we're doing now is drawing from that to have the bigger performance in the month of April, drawing from these smaller performances.
It sounds like you're going to be having a lot of activities. Any special arrangements, both or otherwise, to have persons coming from St. Kitts to participate in your events?
Well, once we've fully organized the pan, we're trying to have something similar to where we have the pan and masquerade competition. And as you would know, we have the masqueraders come up from St. Kitts during that time. So we're looking to have a repeat of that during the month of April.
This sounds, it's like it's going to be interesting. Why April?
Well, that is the year in which, that is the month, sorry, in which the NCDF was formed. It was formed on April 1st.
Oh, okay, April 1st?
Yes.
All Fools Day?
Yes, sir.
but this is not an All Fools thing.
No,
it's a live.
This is live, this is definite, and this will happen.
And going forward.
Yes.
And it sounds like it's going to be very interesting. Again, you're listening to Voices here on Win FM 98.9. The lines are open in case you would want to call in, make your contribution, and let us know what you're thinking, how you're feeling. Remember, culture is all of us. We have with us in the studio Mr. Jerome Wallins, the NCDF, the Nevis Cultural and Development Foundation. Culture, it's always challenging. We have identified that culture evolves, culture changes, and that a program we would have had earlier, Jerome, someone defined the culture changing as not necessarily going to a good thing, culture changing from good to bad. The way the person defined culture evolves was, yes, it's changing, but for the better. And to me, that makes a lot of sense because we do have good cultures, we do have bad cultures, and culture is also evolving. Culture is not necessarily static, it is dynamic. And could that be why we are perhaps losing some of our persons from the culture because we, as the persons responsible for the change and bringing persons aware, we are not keeping up to pace with the change in the evolution of culture? Could that be a possibility?
Well, I think we have to work hard at cultural preservation, and that is to remind the younger folks as to the history of St. Kitts and Nevis. We need to highlight, and that is something I'm working on, the cultural icons. We will be doing interviews with some of the cultural icons, persons going back to as far as the days of NEDAX, which formed Culturama back in the 70s. And once we've improved on the cultural preservation, I think the next step will be much easier.
What we have seen over the few years, a few Calypsonians coming down from Nevis participating in a national carnival. We've also seen one of the national queens, I think it was a Miss Hazel a few years ago, from Nevis coming down, winning the national queen pageant. We've seen King Astro come down, and not only did he win it, he was able to successfully defend it. We have not been seeing too often the schools in Nevis, the Charlestown Secondary, Gingerland Secondary, or Gingerland High, I think it is called, participating as often. I don't recall them being a part of the Queen contestant here. The primary school, Calypsonian, your monarch is from Nevis, and some monarchs before him, I think, would have won the Youth Calypso show. So there is some involvement from Nevisians in the carnival, as it were. But in terms of the schools, how possible do you think it is for us to collaborate and encourage in the schools to not just participate, the Gingerland Primary High School and the Gingerland Secondary High and the Charlestown Secondary, to participate in the National Teen Talent Pageant?
I think we can have a discussion not only at the cultural level, but also at the Ministry of Education level. And once we've accomplished that, we can flesh out the next step, which is to have more interaction between the high schools. We now have it for athletics. And so I think it should be much easier if we were to follow that template to get some coordination between the federation. It's important that they take it up to the national level. It's more exposure, it is better for them, and I think they can only benefit from that.
Somewhere along the line, Jerome, and we go, as a matter of fact, let us go to the break now and tell our sponsors, Flow Coats, Horsfords, and the KFC, a very big thank you for allowing us to have Voices here, the second part of Voices on Win FM 98.9.
Ready when you're ready. Ready to build? Ready to construct? Well, if you're ready, then we're ready. Ready when you're ready. From roads to foundation, Horsfords Building Center is ready to organize and deliver the highest quality ready-mix concrete for your residential, commercial, or industrial projects. Call 465-2262, extension 1187, or 664-2640. And let us organize and deliver ready-mix concrete when you're ready. Ready when you're ready. Horsfords Ready-Mix Concrete. Ready when you ready. Ready when you're ready.
Shopping is a lot easier with Courts Ready Finance. Choose what you want from our wide range of quality products, and we take care of the rest. Courts Ready Finance's affordability means there's no deposit. There's no need for a lump sum of cash. It's flexible, which means you choose your payment term and you're guaranteed the lowest monthly payments anywhere. Best of all, it's easy. Easy to get and easy to pay. Shop at Courts today and get what you want hassle-free. Courts Ready Finance. Easy, affordable, flexible.
How does it feel
when things come together? How you feel when everything nice? How you feel when you savor the flavor, the feeling you get when you taste every bite?
I'll take a small.
XL, that's the size for me. Flo's new prepaid combo plans have the most choice and value for everyone. Save up to 90% by combining your talk, text, and data into one simple plan. And with options starting at just $19.99, it's easy to say it, type it, or share it. A whole lot more for a whole lot less. Dial *129# now to activate. The bigger you go, the bigger you save with Flo's new prepaid combo plans. This is how we flow.
Our culture, man, is so unique throughout the world. Visitors come from all over to see maximum talent unfold. Masquerade and Moko Jambe used to parade to the country. Yeah, got business Johnny Walker used to be the real splendor, but no pandita, no masquerade, no kind of old mask. It's like Culturama is now a thing of the past. Hey, but when the wicked fight used to come, blazing music to the tongue. The Quattro man he coming down, mass and fire when he's strong. When we hear the sound of the big drum, that does get me crazy up and down top. Give me that was mask in the past. I said that was mask in the past. But now we're losing all we flavor, we're losing all we culture. Put some culture back in Culturama. Put some culture back in Culturama. Let the music mad. Why, yeah, yeah. Give me, give me, give me, give me. A message to all divisions.
Thank you, King Miko. And yes, we're still having voices. You're still listening to WinFM 98.9. But we're getting some help from the King Miko just to remind us to revive the culture, support the culture. And we would have talked about patriotism, which is an integral part of our culture, because we wouldn't want to be known as a people who are not patriotic. We are not patriotic to our anthem. We are not patriotic to our flag. We are not patriotic to our country. And Jerome did make the point that Jamaicans particularly, you see them and they always have on something, a band, a necklace, earrings, or something that says Jamaica. And really the song is about encouraging us to support culture. Thank you, Flo. Thank you, Coates. Thank you, SL Horsfords. Thank you, KFC, for allowing us to have voices here on WinFM 98.9, the second half. And of course, you, the listeners, the callers, thank you for being there. And again, we remind you the lines are open. You can give us a call, share your view, clarify anything. We are here to serve you. We are here for you. And the culture, it's not necessarily just about myself or the Department of Culture. It's not about Jerome and the NCDF. Culture is about you. Culture is not about the government. Culture is about we as a St. Kitts Nevis people. We as a people. When it comes to hosting, we are often hearing that, hey, St. Kittitians and Nevisians, they are very good hosts. We are very hospitable people. That is our culture, and that is something we would want to build on, and we would want to ensure it happens. Earlier in the conversation, Jerome, you mentioned, was it David Freeman?
Yes.
You had some he's 90 years, I think you said he mentioned.
Yes, we went, the NCDF, members of the NCDF went to his home along with persons from the Ministry of Youth and Social Affairs, and we celebrated his 90th birthday with him.
Okay. But why really, before I go there, for those of us who may not necessarily know, could you give us a little idea of who David Freeman is, and apart from him being 90?
David Freeman is one of those cultural icons on Nevis. He has been playing the fife for over almost 70 years. And he has played with string bands. He has played with the Masqueraders out of Rollins, with the famous drum called the Joy Bells. And so he has been a musical icon in Nevis, or cultural icon, for a number of years. So we thought it best to go and celebrate with him on his 90th birthday. And we had this properly filmed, properly archived for the future.
That's a good thing, the filming and the archiving. Is that really important, to film things and archive things, especially from a cultural perspective?
Yes, very important. And that is why I'm putting a lot of focus on the research and documentation unit, because a number of persons, particularly, interestingly enough, expats, comes into Nevis and they're asking, they've done their research to the best of their ability. And these are persons who have interest in culture. They would ask certain questions about cultural icons. We have the archive there where they can go and read up on the various cultural icons. When you look at education within the schools, we have our officers who goes out to the schools. They themselves can prepare themselves for the classroom, by reading up on these cultural icons. For example, the officer who teaches masquerade, he has done his own research and read up on all the former masqueraders, the former kettle drummers, the former bass drummers, the former fife players. And so all this information is stored at the archive. And so persons can come in, just from the street and read up if they have any interest. And so it's important that we have that.
You mentioned the drummers and masqueraders. Is the registry really limited to just these folklore, or persons involved in the folkloric landscape? Or does it really make provisions for the wider scope of culture?
Well, we're currently expanding that. I just had the manager for the RDU, which is Research and Documentation Unit. He just came down to St. Kitts and had some training. That's Mr. Patrick Howell. And so the initiative that he will be driving is the registration of all artists on Nevis in the various art forms. I think your team in St. Kitts is a step ahead of us. And so we're now following in your footsteps to get various artists on Nevis registered. Once we've achieved that, and we will be going around the island sensitizing artists to this, we'll be having like an education drive. So once we've done that, we will have all the artists on Nevis properly registered. We'll have their bio on file, and those are the kind of information that we want to have properly documented. You have the old cultural icons, well archived. You'll have the modern day cultural icons, so to speak, properly registered, and also have their bio and other information stored, so that as time passes, we'll have some continuity.
You did mention that some of your workers, they actually do a little research before they go out and teach, which is what it should be. One would have to prepare oneself. We have had persons coming in, children coming in doing SBAs, and some may have interviewed whether the drumming specialist, whether the music specialist, as part of the SBA. Others would have wanted some information from us, whatever archives we would have had, and yet others would have visited the Doctor of Culture, as he's called, Mr. Winston Zach Nisbet, MH Medal of Honor, and his museum to get information. So one would get the impression that that information is important, especially to maintain our cultural identity. And a key thing, for example, how many of us, which is something that the Department of Culture is working on, and obviously your NCDF, how many persons would have known how to make, cassava bread, for example? My mother made cassava bread, and we would have assisted her. I'm not so certain I remember how to make it. But that passing down that information from grandmother to daughter to from great-grandmother to grandmother to daughter, is that really, really important? Whether it's making bread, as simple as thing as turning corn, as old people say, cornmeal, the conkeys, Sorrel. Is that really important to turn down that information, pass it on?
I think it's important to pass it on, and that speaks to the continuity which I mentioned before. And as a matter of fact, I think some of these things should be taught in the schools. You know, we were in Barbados for Carrie Festa, and we had a young lady from Nevis who represented her grandmother. She was selling the agro-processing products. And when I look at the reaction around her stall in Barbados, persons from throughout the Caribbean were amazed that those items were made in Nevis. You know, they were the various jars with the flags on it. And so persons were asking her questions as to how was this made, right? The various drinks, the various jams, the various jellies. And so if we can pass this knowledge on, I think it's very important for us to maintain in terms of maintaining our culture.
And hence the documentation and the RDU.
Proper documentation.
I'm certain Mr. Howell, if he's listening, he will be smiling from ear to ear knowing that you're giving him a plug. And on the contrary, Miss Marlene Phillips, the Research and Documentation Unit Specialist here in St. Kitts, no doubt she's frowning because she may be thinking she's not hearing me pushing it. But it is indeed important. What we have had a challenge with is convincing persons how important it is, the benefits they could have from coming on board. Persons are not being so receptive to the idea. Maybe when they look at it, and one of the great benefits we believe is, if, for example, and you rightly mentioned, it's not limited just to the folklorists, but let's say a band, a soca artist, a reggae star, he's registered or she's registered with us on the SKNCIR, a promoter in Australia, somewhere in Africa, any parts of Europe. He doesn't have to call us to ask us, hey, I'm interested in a reggae singer, a calypso band or whatever. Who would you recommend? He or she would be able to go in, log in into the registry and see that information. And you did mention a profile. Look at the profile and little clippets of the videos and performing and whatever. And if there are 10 of them, they're registered with us, it goes to the 10. And he might say, hey, I wanted one. But these guys are so good, I may take 2 or 3 with us. So that's a challenge we are having, getting people involved. It's picking up a little. We need to be a little more aggressive with it. And one of the things we are also pushing is the fact that for duty-free, for you to be considered for duty-free recommendation from us, you must be registered. But I pause, Jerome, as we go to the line and say good afternoon to our caller. Welcome to Voices.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm just calling in, concerning the culture program there to give a plug to DJ Daniel Gishar, who kept Kittitians and Nibijans together on weekends in the 70s and the early 80s. Everybody went to DJ Daniel's place where we could go and meet each other. And also DJ Marisha, who is on he was on the park up to last year with the troop from St. Kitts. So they are keeping our culture alive abroad. I mean, Daniel kept our culture abroad alive, and DJ Marisha is carrying it on now.
If you have a second or to call, I thank you. I am very much familiar with DJ Marisha. As a matter of fact, he was down here as recently as last week. He came to deal with the funeral of one of his relatives, and we extend condolences to him. But in terms of the DJ Daniel Marisha, you mentioned kept Nivisions and Kittitians together in the 70s and 80s.
DJ Daniel.
DJ Daniel
Gishar from St. Kitts.
And this would have been where that would have been happening?
That would have been in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn or in New York.
Brooklyn.
So you're calling from
Brooklyn.
overseas?
Yeah, I'm calling from New York. I'm listening to the show, which is very interesting. And I just, quite a number of us had some place to go on weekends, and it was by DJ Daniel, that's in the 70s, and the late 70s and the early 80s. And again, Marisha, we talk about the St. Kitts, we talk about the flags, and celebration on Eastern Parkway behind DJ Marisha's troop. There is thousands and thousands of St. Kitts and Nevis flags.
A quick question before you go. In terms of the flags, the patriotism, would it have been at the levels you were happy with? You would have been proud to say, hey, I'm a Kittitian division. When you look at us, you look at our flags, our T-shirts, or whatever. Are you seeing it on that scale? Or do you think there's an area for us to continue and improve?
No. I'm seeing it on that scale. And it has been like that for years now. When we go on the Parkway, you see the St. Kitts Nevis booth, where the St. Kitts booth and the Nevis booth, and you have all these flags, and you have the people in the St. Kitts Nevis wear all around. And I can say we're up there with the Jamaicans and the Trinidadians when we are supporting our country. And our country is well represented outside of St. Kitts Nevis.
So do you therefore think that is something worthwhile that Mr. Jerome Wallins and myself would want to come to the Eastern Parkway and invite a few other Kittitians and divisions to come up?
That will be fine. that will be something good.
Okay, thanks a lot, caller. Okay. We appreciate that.
You see, we talk about culture, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think was a program and earlier when on Saturday when they mentioned Mr. The Honorable Sean Richards was in Trinidad. You have to go out and see how other people perform, and when you come back, try to improve your functions, because we know Trinidad is the top carnival area.
Okay,
so again, I'm proud. But what we still have to do, just like the other countries, the flag raising and everything should start in kindergarten all the way up, and it will just continue.
Okay, that very good point, caller. We appreciate it. Thank you for calling, and thank you for listening to Win FM 98.9. And tell your friends and your families about us and other Kittitians and divisions up there, even the Jamaicans.
All right.
Tell them about us, though.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Okay.
and Jerome, a very, very interesting point, and talking about the flag raising in the primary schools. But can we stick a pin and go to our sponsors and tell them a big thank you before we get you to comment on that, please?
How does it feel when you got that feeling? You got the flavor you love. How does it feel when you know you're not dreaming? There is nothing above.
How you feel when things come together? How you feel when everything nice? How you feel when you savor the flavor, the feeling you get when you taste every bite?
Ready when you're ready. Ready to build? Ready to construct? Well, if you're ready, then we're ready.
Ready when you're ready.
From roads to foundation, Horseman's Building Center is ready to organize and deliver the highest quality ready-mix concrete for your residential, commercial, or industrial projects. Call 465-2262, extension 1187, or 664-2640. And let us organize and deliver ready-mix concrete when you're ready.
Ready when you're ready.
Horseman's Ready-Mix Concrete, ready when you ready.
Ready when you're ready.
Shopping is a lot easier with Quartz Ready Finance. Choose what you want from our wide range of quality products, and we take care of the rest. Quartz Ready Finance's affordability means there's no deposit. There's no need for a lump sum of cash. It's flexible, which means you choose your payment term and you're guaranteed the lowest monthly payments anywhere. Best of all, it's easy. Easy to get and easy to pay. Shop at Quartz today and get what you want hassle-free. Quartz Ready Finance. Easy, affordable, flexible.
I'll take a small.
XL, that's the size for me. Flow's new prepaid combo plans have the most choice and value for everyone. Save up to 90% by combining your talk, text, and data into one simple plan. And with options starting at just $19.99, it's easy to say it, type it, or share it. A whole lot more for a whole lot less. Dial *129# now to activate. The bigger you go, the bigger you save with Flow's new prepaid combo plans. This is how we flow.
Every turnabout, I notice things looking more strange. Like we're trying to stifle reculture, calling for a change. Year by year we are steadily importing foreign ideas. Disregard
Jerome, we say thank you to Flo, thank you to Coast, thank you to SL Horsfords and KFC for sponsoring us here on Win FM 98.9's Voices. And we go straight to the line and say good afternoon to this caller. Welcome to Voices, caller.
Hello, good afternoon. I wanted to say that I have to agree with that caller who said that when it comes to the Eastern Parkway on Labor Day in the United States, that St. Kitts and Nevis is well represented. You have so many, flags from our country waving, and persons in that part of the diaspora have really done a lot to keep the culture alive. There's so many functions that will be held around that time and kind of blending with our independence, and persons from our country would support all those functions that we had. I really enjoyed when I was a diplomat of St. Kitts and Nevis and worked in New York. It was part of my best experiences to mingle with the people and to the pride that they felt in our country. Sometimes perhaps even a little more than I would feel when I'm at home. But anyway, I have to say too that all people are so talented. The other day when you guys went to Carifesta, the pride that I felt in the way that you displayed our culture was just amazing. And also, you mentioned that Miss Henry Martin, Jackson Henry Martin, the way she put on Carifesta, persons are still talking about it. We have tremendous talent, but we just don't know it. Perhaps not yet. We need to understand and realize how much talent we have among ourselves. And Biff Mills, I have to commend you for what you're doing in the Department of Culture. I see you work tirelessly to make sure that the schools and the students are keeping the culture alive and getting Zach Nisbet into the schools to teach them. I've seen what you did with the Folklore Avenue. I've seen persons all over in the countryside, doing various sports, putting on various cultural dances, the masquerades, the Makajumbi, and all these kind of things. I've seen a great effort towards reviving our culture. And the way that you work with Carnival in the past year or two is just really tremendous. Have to commend you highly. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, caller. We appreciate that. And that is what we definitely will have to do, as Jerome was saying. It is important for us to actually have that information flowing down to the youngsters at the preschool level, even the primary school. So 10, 15 years from now, when they are here doing what we're doing, they would have known that background, how things would have been done. And the patriotism again. Interesting, Jerome, the caller said that she feels that patriotism more out there, more in the outer world in the U.S. than when she's at home.
I find that very interesting, and that is perhaps a good case study for us to look into as to why the sense of patriotism is more intense abroad. Again, it goes back to the schools here, and we need to really work on that, because if the sense of patriotism is strong, it makes it easier for the acceptance of the culture or the appreciation of the culture. I think the two has to go hand in hand.
We know it's challenging in any society, any country, the social ills of that country. Do you see culture in any way addressing the social ills, contributing to reducing, eliminating, as it were, the social ills of any country, particularly here in St. Kitts and Nevis?
It's interesting that you asked, because I spoke to this about 2 days ago. And what I was talking about is the fact that culture, or the teaching of culture in the schools, is not just about culture, it's also about discipline. Right? I visit the schools quite often, and I watch the cultural officers teach the various aspects of culture, the dancing, the drama, the drumming, etc. And it's a discipline that they're building into these children. Now, if we were to have continuity with these children from primary school into the high schools, which is something we're working on, because the high school section fell off over the years, and that is something I'm working on. But if we were to have that continuity from kindergarten or the preschool right up to, say, 5th and 6th form, I think it would make a difference. One of the other things I spoke about is the fact that with regards to social ills, every group has a need to belong. Every group. In my days, it was 4-H, as I mentioned, it was AYPA. It's just that we had our own groups which were in the positive. What's happening now, a lot of the groups are in the negative.
Okay.
Right? So one of my quests is to have culture being one of the anchors around Nevis in the various villages, the various parishes, etc., to be that anchor, that social anchor that brings the young people together. For example, the former premier, Mr. Amory, he recently got some pans. I think they were funded by UNESCO, and they had the launch at Bath Hotel, and those pans are for Gingerland. They now housed at the community center in Hallies Road, and so the initiative will be starting up pretty soon with the new Minister of Culture, Mr. Eric Evelyn, to start a program in the Gingerland area, because Mr. Amory spoke of the days when there were pans in almost every village throughout Nevis. And so once you have these programs on board, the young people will have positive influences. I think that would lead to a more positive society.
And I personally believe with all my heart, Jerome, that these youngsters we have going around with guns, hey, if you really want to shoot a gun, why not put down the Glocks and the Smith & Wessons and whatever and pick up a spray painting gun, become an artist, make money from it, support your family. And when we look at the spray painting, you have the body spray painting, and that's part of the Bangalang Festival here in Sandy Point. And they do tremendous work. You look at the vehicles. There are some vehicles you could see, in essence, an entire jungle being sprayed, the airbrush, onto these murals. Persons are spraying, and you could spray. So there is actually a livelihood. And I'm easily remembering in school, I would dare to think that it happens now, and if it happens now, I don't believe it will be on any large scale, that if you were not that academically inclined in school, if you were not the bright boy, if I was not the bright boy like Jerome, I would have been pushed in the corner and say, hey, go and learn to play the steel band, go and learn to play the drum, go and learn to dance, go and learn to play football or cricket, because I cannot make it from an academical level. I can't get 3 or 4 or 5 CXC. It was perhaps looking at culture at a negative. But then, in today's world, you're going to hear a footballer getting, I don't know, 700,000 pounds a week. You're going to hear look at a dancer going out with Beyonce, performing at the Super Bowl there with these artists, touring, going on world tours with them. A dancer. And I'm sure my dance specialist, Ms. Marcia Jeffers, would like to hear that. The musicians, singers, they're making more than doctors and lawyers.
It's interesting that you said that, because one of the dancers who performed, I think it was Super Bowl last year, is David Freeman's granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she has performed with Beyonce.
Wow.
She was born and raised in the United States. Her father is David Freeman's son. So it's interesting that you mentioned that.
Well, that's interesting. So that's all part of our culture.
That's part of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so David Freeman's son grew up with him with the culture. And by extension, his daughter is one of the top dancers in the United States. But yes, I think we sort of fell off the wagon when it comes to some of these programs in the schools, and as a result, we're seeing the results. But we need to get back into it. You mentioned the part about the painting and the different aspects. What I think needs to happen, we need to take the initiatives or the programs to the areas where these persons are. You cannot just have them far away and expect them to take the initiative to go to it. You have to take the program to them in some cases, and I think they will get on board. One of the things you have to also do is to show them the benefits of being involved. If you were to go to certain villages and say, well, I'm prepared to teach you pan, you have to give them the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
What are the potential of being a good pan player? Point out fellas who are actually playing pan and making money from it, whether in the hotels or overseas, etc. Right? We have a number of persons from the NCDF who went off to Leeds, which I haven't mentioned as yet, to play it for the Leeds Carnival. It was the 50th anniversary. The founder of Leeds Carnival is from Nevis. That is something we have to drive as well to show that culture can take you places. This group that went off to Leeds, most of them were employees of the NCDF. Some of them have gotten calls since they're back because the content and the product that they presented in Leeds was so impressive. Persons have been calling for them. A group of them performed for a cruise ship here recently, and they were seen in Leeds and got a job to perform for a cruise ship here at Port Zante. And so this is the sort of networking, the sort of marketing that can come out from culture. And so if you can teach the young people the benefits of being in culture and not just culture per se, I think the young people, given the technological age in which we live, young people like to see what the benefits are, and they want to see it now.
What's in it for me?
What's in it for me? This is what you want me to do? How can I benefit? And once you can show them that, show them the big picture early, I think they'll get involved.
You mentioned take it out to the communities. And that's the case. If Joshua doesn't come to the mountain, then the mountain will go to Joshua.
That's what we'll have to do.
And it goes back to a point you made earlier, maximizing the use of social media, putting it in their hands now, because persons are not even sitting down in front of laptops. They're walking around with the phone. You say something, and they're Googling it right there and then on their phone. I think that is really, really awesome. But in terms of the culture and the spreading culture, do you think that this is something that should be left up to the government, left up to the Minister Eric Evelyn in Nevis, left up to the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister Sean Richards, left up to the Nevis Island Assembly, left up to the federal government here in St. Kitts Nevis, or in any country as a matter of fact?
No, because in Nevis, for example, we have the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, but you also have a number of individuals who have formed their own dance groups, they form their own drama groups, and then they come and perform at the Nevis, at NEPAC. And so you perhaps maybe give them a discount, when they perform as an incentive, etc. But there are ways to partner with these governmental agencies and drive the initiative that we're trying to get out there. So it does not have to be an entire government-sponsored, initiative, but private persons can take part as well.
So therefore, the onus is on me as well to get up and make my contribution.
Yes, definitely.
And not wait until you help me or wait until the government help me.
Because what I like to see is a former Calypsonian, for example, or an active Calypsonian, take it upon himself to conduct classes, approach the Ministry of Education, or have his own evening classes for budding Calypsonians, etc. That is not a government-sponsored event. That is someone taking pride in Calypso and decides, I'd like to give back, so to speak, and train some young persons who are interested in Calypso. I'd like to see a painter conduct some evening classes, because all this is part of culture. And if there's any assistance he might need, whether from the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation or from government, but the fact is, the idea is his. And he can have, say, an evening class once per week, teaching the youngsters painting. If it gets to the level whereby government may see it as something viable, they can say, well, let's partner. How can we partner? How can we make this beneficial for the area, for the society in general?
You touched on nerve there, Jerome. You mentioned Calypsonians going and helping youngsters workshop, etc. I recently learned that there is a particular Calypsonian, and obviously I'm not going to call a name, who has been approached on several occasions asking to, hey, write a couple lines for my son or daughter or cousin or niece or nephew. Okay, we have this song. Give us a little idea. And the Calypsonian has never been involved in any of that at the youth level in terms of the development. And that is something that I really, really feel bad about, because it's about giving back. At the end of the day, and going back to the old movies, I don't know if you're young enough to remember them. When you go to a monk, a Shaolin temple, a monk or a master to learn the art of Kung Fu, when you are better than the master, that is when the master feels that he would have done something, accomplished something. When the student becomes better than the master. So I'm thinking, if I'm a Calypsonian and whether or not I want a crown, but I could write songs and say, hey, that is my product. He won 2, 3 crowns, 1 crown. That is my product. I'll be at the proudest at that moment, I believe. So that is something I'm hoping that is not actually correct, but from my related research, it is suggesting that it is correct. But I like the point. We're going out. It's a case of each one teach one.
Yes,
each
yes,
one
yes.
help one. Jerome, we have about just a few seconds and a half before we wrap up the program. I don't know if there are any final things you would want to share with us that we would have missed. Any parting words you want to have?
Well, I'd just like to say the month of April, again, the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation will be having a host of activities. You could log on to our Facebook page, Nevision Culture, and we also have a second Facebook page, Nevis Cultural Development Foundation. We will have the entire calendar there, and so you can feel free to peruse and then come out and attend our various functions.
And is there a contact number, anybody wanting information from Jerome Wallins or to make a contribution, find out more about culture, especially on the Nevis, a number that persons can call?
Sure, they can call my mobile. Most persons know it already, 662-9160. Or you can call 469-1889. Or also the government's main number, 469-5521, extension 6640 or 6641.
Jerome, it was indeed a pleasure having you here with us on WinFM 98.9. Your maiden visit to us on Voices, Cultural Tuesday particularly. I thank you for taking time out and coming down and sharing with us your experiences, your plans, your ideas. And I ask you to take, from the Department of Culture's point of view, take our blessings back to your staff, notwithstanding we have been in relatively close contact over the period. And we look forward to having you here again and continuing to work with you on the other side of the Narrows to build culture in the Federation and keep the culture alive. And before we slip away again, I must thank Flo, Coates, SL Horsfords, and KFC for coming on board and sponsoring us. I must thank you, the listeners, for allowing us to come into your homes, your cars, on the job, on the beach, wherever you are, on the mountaintop. And the callers, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Those of you who didn't call, we know everyone will not call, but you may meet us on the street and make your comments. We thank you. We invite you to tune in again tomorrow at 11 o'clock for another edition of Voices, and next week, Tuesday, for Cultural Tuesday. I'm Troy Biff Mills from the Department of Culture saying thank you. And before I leave, please allow me to remind you to always be positive in your thoughts, in your words, and in your actions. Have a good day. Thank you for listening.